welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television. I am Adanna Combie, and we begin conversations this morning. We speak with Inspector Mahalia Bacchus of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Services, and we're going to be talking about the crime update here on the island of Tobago, as well as preparation for Carnival 2025. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Adanna, and good morning to Tobago and the wider world, and the Tobago and Trinidad, as a matter of fact.
Right. You know, it's always a pleasure having T.T.P.S in studio. This is where we get the information as it relates to things happening on the island of Tobago. And of course, we want to know what's been happening.
Yes, well, Tobago has been relatively safe over the Carnival period thus far. We work closely with the Trinidad and Tobago Defence Force, and I'm happy to say that they were able to recover a firearm over the weekend. You know, one gun off the street means many lives saved. So we are happy to report that this morning we have a firearm recovered, and this is during the SOE here. We also want to report that the police officers have been doing what they are supposed to do. We are out there, we are doing our raid and searches, we continue to do our traffic exercises, we continue to do our stop and searches. You know, some persons may feel uncomfortable when they see us stopping them and so on, but it is to their benefit. You understand? Because there are people who are traversing our roadways with firearms, whether on their persons or in their vehicles. So when we do these stop and searches, this is how we are able to find items like these.
And you know, since the introduction of the SOE late last year, we're still in an SOE now. I know when it began, you were very aggressive. When I say you, T.T.P.S was very aggressive in their approach in terms of ensuring the same stop and search. You know, we were seeing presence on the roads, we were seeing, you know, the roadblocks, and we were seeing the searches taking place. Is that same level of intensity still in action now, as it were?
Yes, it is in action now, and still that intensity is still there, because persons could tell you, I'm aware that they have these roadblock chats, that they tend to chatter a lot about where the police is, you know, and sometimes they look at us. We are all over, right? We are all over, and this is for the safety of the law-abiding citizens, so that we could remove those criminal elements from society who are plaguing us with problems.
And you know, have the communities been coming forward to bring information? You know, the tagline we have, if you see something, say something. Have you been getting the support of communities and individuals, you know, coming forward with intelligence?
Yes, we have been getting support from the communities. There are persons who have developed that level of confidence and trust in the police service, and we tend to encourage persons that there has to be someone outside there that you can trust. And we have so many mediums now by which you can share information. If you know where a firearm is, if you know where somebody who is wanted on a warrant, or somebody who's carrying out any form of illegal activity, right? There are so many ways that you can report these activities now. There's 555. You could even call 211. You could call the stations. And I'm sure there's some officer on the outside who you can place that trust in to send that information, because you can do it anonymously.
That's right, and we need to, we really need to come together to ensure that we could pass that information across, because we want to create safe spaces where we can all enjoy and feel comfortable in. And now we're talking about Carnival 2025 in Tobago. National Carnival, I know it's not as heavy as the October Carnival, but still it needs the same measure of attention. How is the T.T.P.S positioned to ensure that all the activities, the events that are being promoted on the island would be, you know, manned properly, and to provide that measure of security for Tobagonians?
Well, Adanna, this is nothing new to us in terms of the carnival season and preparations, or putting things in place to ensure that our spaces are very safe. And the speaker before me would have spoken about all the activities that are to come for this carnival season in Tobago, and the police is ready and waiting to be there for those activities. We have persons, we did our carnival briefing, so we know what events are scheduled, and the ones that we have officers that are detailed to be there to make these spaces safe. Persons who are in charge as well too. So we saw where we had the panorama, and persons could attest that they saw the police in full force for the panorama. Even the interdepartment competition that was there, we are there and we are present, and we can be seen at those activities.
You know, in terms of your strategy to ensure safety for the events, what is the collaboration like with the other agencies who are also supposed to assist in providing that measure of support, whether it's via communication, whether it's via manpower? What is the relationship like, and how has it been so far?
Well, Adanna, first, for sure, we have officers on nearly every one of the meetings that are being held by the Carnival Committee with the THA. So we are aware of what these activities are and what it requires. We also give our input as to safe measures of safety that are supposed to be adopted, right? So we work along with the fire service as well, who is also our representative there, to look at the areas of concern so that we could have less problems when on the days of these activities. We look at the entrances, the exits, and this is how we know where officers would be placed, and advise the promoters or the persons who are doing these activities as to how the area should be constructed to avoid minimal incidents on the day of the activity.
Right. And now we want to talk a little bit about how do we safeguard ourselves. I mean, we have this conversation every time we have major events, but I feel as if, we have to re-emphasize each time. So I want to talk about some things. I know you were talking about to me off air about a few things you want to discuss, but before we get into that, how do people safeguard themselves when they're going out to events to ensure that they're not duped or they're not robbed or they're not, taken advantage of when they go out?
Well, one of the first things we have to look at is your self-awareness and awareness of your environment and your surroundings when you are out. Some people, they get wild sometimes that you're out and everything is going fine and they don't think about who is at my side. You may open your handbag or you just barely push the money in your pocket and there's probably a pickpocketer right behind you because your bag was not closed and you're jumping up having a good time. By the time you're finished, you're looking for your phone to do a selfie. It's not there because the person did what they have to do and they left, right? So, as much as you can, try not to have too much cash on you when you're outside. If you're move in groups, right? And as we always say, have that designated driver because everybody wants to drink and have a good time. But the designated driver is not there just to drink the least, but also that person will not drink at all. The person you could trust. So if not, you hire someone who will come, drop you guys off, pick you up at the end of the event. So we have to be mindful that there are persons who are up to no good sometimes coming to these parties as well to for their own personal gain. Right, so we need to be mindful of what is happening around us.
And talking about persons who are up to no good, shifting gears out of the carnival. I mean, you were talking to me off air about a specific situation that you really want to bring to the attention of our viewers, and I want to get into that. And viewers, I really want you to pay attention to this because this is not the first time something of this nature has happened, but we need to be aware. So, yes. Inspector?
Yes, so what we are finding out is that we are having a lot of reports pertaining to persons being victims of online scamming. So persons are receiving emails and so on, asking you to press a link. And most times they're having like a Republic Bank site showing up and it looks very genuine. But I've heard somebody said when you look good, sometimes there's a 2L or so in it because it looks like a genuine website or Scotia Bank or that kind of thing. And you press the link, and as you press the link, they are able to access all of your information in your account. And people have been losing as much as $50,000, right? Moving from their account into another account. Sometimes it may leave from Republic Bank and end up into an account in Scotia Bank. And by the time you get the information to do the investigation, the money is withdrawn and taken away, right? So we have to be careful. If you're not sure, please contact your bank and verify whether they ask you to update an account or if your account is actually locked out, if you were locked out of your account or that kind of thing, because we are still having all this coming. So you have people trying in that virtual space to try to still deceive people. So you have to be aware of what is happening. If you are not sure, please don't click that link and please don't try to access that or do any information. There was even one person who tried to apply for a loan online with the link. Sent all their job letter, everything to the space, right? And they used it to wipe out their account.
This is very, very concerning and scary. The fact that you said they made the application for a loan, and of course, your personal details go there. So this person now has information in terms of what their monthly salary is,
yes,
and all this type of information that is there. So we want to be very careful. This is very, very scary. In an event like this, as you said, the investigation, when it's time for the investigation, if the money is wiped out, I know the conversation might have to be between the financial institution and probably the police, but what kind of support or what is the approach from the T.T.P.S. when a situation like this is reported?
Right, so most times when people make these discoveries, they will go to the bank. The bank advise you to go and make a report to the police. We take the report, but we must write to the bank in order to get the information that is needed to conduct the investigation, because we have to see what the account number is that was used, right, that took your money out and where it was deposited. So sometimes it's a bit lengthy because it's not the same bank. It might be from one bank to another bank. So you have to be trying to get that information and get it in a timely manner in order to help you with the recovery of the monies. But the bottom line is that the financial institution is the one who will have to try to compensate you, right, for the loss.
So you know how that goes sometimes with financial institutions when things like that happen. And you know, sometimes these accounts, sometimes they ask for insurance for your accounts, and sometimes we don't want to pay the insurance because, I mean, it's my own money and then I still have to pay for this and pay for that. But sometimes it might be worth it. But other times it is you having to do your due diligence and ensuring that you are aware and alert. Usually, as you mentioned before, Inspector, the banks don't really send links for you to click. Through via your email. My personal experience is that they would quicker call you.
Yes.
They will quicker call you, and even if the bank calls, this is my own thing. If the bank calls or somebody stating that they're calling from the bank and you still feel uncomfortable, I would hang up from the call. After the call, I would call back the bank to verify that this officer called to get this information and whatever before I move forward.
And that was a reality, eh? Someone was almost duped by that. They had received a call saying that they're calling from the bank, but based on what they were being asked and so on, they got a bit concerned. And they hung up the call. And it was a call trying to get their personal information.
Yeah, we really have to be diligent out there. Coins kind of hard to come along these days, and so you want to preserve your coins, you know, so you have to be very, very careful and ensure that you apply whatever measure of security you can to your personal property, whether it's your finances, your home, whatever it is. You know, Inspector, in closing, is there any more information you'd like to share with our viewers this morning?
Yes, I would also like to let persons know that, you know, you are going to these activities and these events and you are leaving your home, right? So I'm asking again and again that people ensure that their homes are properly well secured. Ensure that you have good locks, invest in CCTV cameras, also have a good relationship with your neighbor so that people could look out for you if you are not at home. And the persons who have children, you ensure that your children are well supervised if you have to leave home. Do not leave your children at home by themselves. And just one more thing, we know that there's the glass bottle law in effect for Carnival. So we're asking persons that they adhere, please, to the law and do not enter the spaces with the glass bottles. You know, there's a $1,000 fine attached to that glass bottle, having the glass bottle in your possession.
Remind the viewers.
So do not come into the spaces because the bottles, you can be charged. You can be charged for it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. The Morning Show on Tobago Updates Television, how to safeguard yourself for Carnival 2025 and the law as it relates to glass bottles. Ensure that you don't carry glass bottles to any party or event that you are attending.